hold in my pee. Okay.
You can go
Okay.
pee now.
Uh, yeah. I think I'm not that urgent, so maybe I can hold it in. Yeah. Let me just post.
Stream yourself peeing later. Do a live.
Stream myself streaming. Okay.
Gonna get demonetized after this.
Lewis call. Cool. Let's share this. Um, let's see. Let me go to everyone. I'm live now with Lewis on call. Yes.
Where are you texting this? Is it like
My
a...
Discord server.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Cool. We are live.
Let me
Um,
see if I can find it.
yeah, you should find it so that you can see the chat.
Mm. Yeah, I see it.
Cool.
Nice.
How's your video going?
Oh, good. I filmed it today.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
Okay.
finished writing it, so filmed it today.
Oh my gosh, the writing took like
Uh,
5 days, eh?
Something like that. Yeah, it took a long time to write. I'm a bit obsessive, so I probably don't have to do this. I need to find the right balance, but right now I'm trying to make every sentence as good as I can make it. So
Mm-hmm.
um, Jordan Peterson talks about this, where he said when he writes, he put up two Word document. He'll pull a sentence out of the main document, put it on the second Word document, and think, is there another way I can write this that's a little better? And
Mm-hmm.
he'll write out a
Yeah.
couple different versions
Yeah.
and pick the one that's the best. And he'll do it with every sentence in his book, so that
Right.
in the end, it's a book where everything is as good as he can make it. But that's a bit extreme. You're doing it with every sentence. Uh, I was kind of doing a version of that, which is why it's taking so long. There's that, and the fact that I'm still learning to do this. So I'm not like a master writer, so I tend to write slowly. Um, but hopefully, as I do a couple more videos, I'll get faster at this. I do see myself getting faster compared to my previous videos, but man, it's taking longer than I would have hoped. So
Mm-hmm.
efficiency is what I'm aiming for next. But yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I heard
Looking,
Yeah.
I was looking at your channel just now, and it looks like you're editing the video called "I got my first girlfriend at 35" or something like that. Something called
Yeah. 34.
34.
Yeah. Yeah. 34.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a funny title. I think I will definitely watch that video.
That is such a what is I you already told me that you told me you would click on that video. Um.
Right.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this before?
We talked about I talked about the title. And you said yeah I would click on that video. And
It's good to know I'm consistent with what I say I'll click on.
the funny thing is, I could do such a better job telling that story, um, if if I scripted it.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, a part of me wanted to just go for it.
Mm. Um, that's interesting. So the part of you that want to go for it, is it because you want to prioritize authenticity with your videos, so you come off as more of yourself comes through as you do it live, or why do you prefer to do it with minimal preparation?
Um, I guess a level of authenticity, but also this guy Joshua. I don't know if I shown you this guy. I should show you. I'll send you his channel. Uh, Johnny Motza. So the channel is Johnny Motza, but his let me send you the link. Yeah. So His name is Joshua Marsden or something like that. I don't know his last name. Joshua something, and he just makes these talking videos where he's out anywhere in public, and um, he explained how he films his videos, which is he just has one idea, and then he'll hit record and he'll just run with the idea. And he's so much better of a speaker than me, but um, I figure out I figured that if I want to get to his level, then I just have to keep practice doing that. So he
Yeah,
was
it
an
looks like this guy's
inspiration.
posting. He's even posting more than one videos a day. Like his
Yeah,
post,
he said he said like that particular day he filmed 3 videos. Yeah,
and he just posts them, posts all of them.
yeah. Um, and he's having a lot of success. Yeah, I mean, thirty
Yeah,
thousand subscribers and
nice.
1,000 views.
And
Yeah.
I should say, I was watching your video the other day, the one about um, got a title. You were talking about how you have to choose between
Oh,
uh, success on YouTube versus
creative freedom.
what was it? Creative freedom or something along those lines. And you talked about my channel at the end,
Yeah.
and I wanted to comment and say that Paul, you thank you for talking about my channel so frequently because it looks like I'll be known on the internet as Paul's friend sooner than I'm known as a video essayist. I wanted to send that comment, but it has nothing to do with the video topic at all. So I didn't end up putting it as a comment under that video.
Oh no, that's totally in the topic of the video because I mentioned you. So.
Yeah, it's just in general. So I thought it just be something funny to share with you, but
Uh-huh.
not something specific to that topic of creative freedoms and success. But yeah,
Oh, Mr. Olav says Scandinavian said honestly, I thought you did a great job telling it. Thank you. If you thought it was great, then maybe it is good enough for me to just make it public. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. So you know what, Lewis, you surpassed me so quickly with
Yeah,
your viral videos. Like, I'm at 2.6K subscribers, and you just blew past that within one video. Like one video launched you well past that. So like you're definitely
yeah,
known as the video essayist more than my friend.
yeah. Good point. Yeah, that one video did very well. Um, I think people really like the part where I was referencing my own experience. I think you told me this soon after I posted that video where the best part that you thought was when I was talking about my own experience,
Hmm.
which seems to be what the audience thinks as well. A lot of people
Oh.
are commenting specifically on that. Um, it was very good that I included it because I can talk about a cultural phenomenon like Juhatsu, which is kind of esoteric
Mm.
and seems to be something that is novel because it's of a different culture and it has nothing to do with you know the day-to-day life in a Western society. But when I make that connection with myself, the audience start thinking along those lines too, and a lot of people start commenting, "Oh, I can see myself in Johatsu as well." So it becomes a very personal uh, and relatable content than it was had I not included that part. So yeah, that was yeah, that just so happens that I happened to quit my job. I think I literally submitted my resignation just the day or 2 days before. I had already almost finished writing the outline of the script, and the first couple of draft was already done, I think, at that point, and it didn't include my experience of quitting my job because I didn't quit my job. I still had a job, and then I quit my job, and I was like, hold on, that I should include that in the script. So I quit my job just in time to be included in that video. Um, and I was working on that video while I was working through my internal thoughts around quitting my job, which was what allowed me to work that experience into the video somewhat seamlessly because I was already thinking along those lines. So it was good timing and good luck in many ways. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that it wasn't just me that thought that, but a lot of other people found your personal story resonating more than the essay part. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I yeah, that definitely that part, that personal part of yours definitely stuck out to me.
Hmm.
Any time you mention any kind of like when you in your latest video where you show off your Chinese uniform in school, I'm like, yeah,
Picture
that's
of
what
me
I
wearing it.
yeah, like that's what I want to see. Like not just the stock footage. I want to see like Lewis.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what?
I um I remember I remember that photo because I remember everyone in that photo of me wearing the school uniform and three other of my friends. Um, and I knew that it was a good photo to show in that video, and I was looking for that photo. I couldn't find it. I was like, oh, where could it be? Um, I couldn't find it in my Google photo album, which is where I upload or where my photo what's the word like photo storage get automatically copied to Google Photos. So all of my old photos are there, and it wasn't there. Um, so like, oh, maybe you see my Google Drive. I checked my Google Drive, it wasn't there. And I was like, I had to go find an email address I used back in high school,
Oh,
and look at the Google Drive that's associated with that email. And I found not only this photo, but a whole bunch of other photos of me in high school when I was in China.
whoa.
And it was so traumatizing because all of my old memories of my embarrassing teenage years just got, got all in that folder when I opened it. It took me a while to process it. But yeah, I picked the ones that are relevant to that video, but I had to witness all of my old memories as well. So it was a substantial cost that I acquired that photo.
Was it that traumatizing high school?
Uh, well, it was. I mean, to me, it was. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. And I was thinking of how I saw the world back then and how different it is to me now. Um, yeah, I was pretty edgy. I was an edgy teenager.
I mean,
I was saying, I was seeing in the video that my friend was edgy because he was. I was talking about how people customize the way they wear their school uniform because you have to wear this very baggy and ugly tracksuit to school every day in China. That's the school uniform, and it's so generic and sort of loose that it covers up everybody's individuality. So, but we have people going through puberty in those clothes. They really want to assert their individuality. So one of the ways they do it is by customizing the way they wear the school uniform, so they
mm,
could, maybe roll up the sleeves and do something with the collars. Like students try different ways to wear it just
mm-hmm.
to show that they are different. And I was saying that my friend was edgy. So I showed a picture of one of my best friend growing up, and he was in the photo uh, wearing the school uniform, but he's rolling up the pants of the school uniform, but only on one of his two legs. So one of his unrolled, one of his is rolled. And I showed that. I zoomed in on that photo. I'm just like, oh, this guy's so edgy, right? It's one of my best friend growing up. But I was probably in that same league, as a young teenager going through puberty.
Mm.
But yeah.
Did you did you date at all? I mean, dating is not allowed in Chinese schools, but
Yeah, no, I didn't date. Unfortunately, I had a self-identity. I identify as a good student, and good students not supposed to date. So I was not dating. I was proud of it at the time.
mm,
That I was, following the rules, and I would look at other students who try to date, and I'll be like, oh, look at them. They're not as good of a student as me. someone who don't date.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was actually the video idea I was working off of. I was trying to talk about that first as a video idea of uh, of dating culture in Chinese high school and how
Right.
they uh, just as China as a culture is somewhat in agreement that students shouldn't date until they get into universities. Before then, when you're in high school or middle school or elementary school, you should just study and don't date. And I was, writing about that, and then I found out that the school uniform, the reason it's so baggy, loose, and ugly, and the same for, all the genders, is because they want to make the student look uglier so they don't find each other attractive and start
Mm-hmm.
dating. And I went on a rabbit hole there, just looking at the whole school uniform, and I was like, "Oh, this is more interesting. I want to write about this." So I paused.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. Wait,
Thank you, Furry.
I lost you for like 20 seconds. You paused the idea and then you cut off. What did you say? You paused the dating idea and then
Well, yeah, I paused the dating idea and started talking about the school uniform. That's how
hmm
I got the idea um, to start writing about school uniform. Yeah.
So are you gonna come back to the no dating topic?
Eventually, yeah. There seems to be other topics that are uh, it's more interesting to me at this time, perhaps more important. Like the whole dating thing, the main reason for that is because Chinese schools and educations and parents want students to focus on studying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was planning a video about how this excessive focus on academic performance is actually not good for kids in many ways. So that seems like a more important topic. So I wanted to explore that at some point. Um, and after I, finish talking about all these other points, if there's still something interesting remaining in the fact that Chinese students don't date, then I can talk about that. Um, but yeah, what's interesting there is apparently China is the only country that I know, at least in East Asia, that makes a big deal out of don't dating before university. They
Mm.
really care that students don't date the same way they care that they don't do drugs, right? So they'll put dating on the same tier list of taboo as cigarettes and alcohol
Mm-hmm.
and drugs in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And China seems to be the only country that does it. The word for uh, don't date in high school, that the word for student dating is called 早恋 in Chinese, and you can find the equivalent word in Korean or Japanese. In Japanese is just the same word, but in Japanese kanji.
Right, right.
And I think in Korean you have to find the Chinese version of it and put that into the Korean writing system. So
Right,
the
right.
words can exist.
Right.
You can show it to Korean and Japanese people, and they'll probably recognize the characters, but the words will not mean anything to them. So it's
Mm.
like Chinese people just made a word for it.
Mm.
They care about it so much that they have a unique term for it, and they ban it on the same level. They take it very seriously, as much as like drugs and alcohol
Mm-hmm.
for students. So I thought that part might be interesting to explore, but there are other interesting things too. So
Um, I mean, it sounds like your current video topic is somewhat related about following what your parents tell you to do. Like it's kind of
yeah,
in
yeah.
line with studying too much, all that.
No, I didn't talk about studying that much, maybe at all, in this video about filial piety. Um, in filial piety, I mainly talked about my experience with my parents.
Mm.
I think last time you asked me if I told my parents yet, and I said I'm not gonna tell them unless they ask me about it. Uh, the uh, the ethical reasoning there is, I thought that I have some right to privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't have to volunteer all of my life information to my parents, but I do have an ethical commitment to not lie. So if they ask me, I'm gonna have to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents said happy birthday on my birthday a few weeks ago, and the same sentence they said housework, and I was like,
Oh.
oh fuck, this is the day I'm gonna have to tell them. So I told them, and that experience was pretty interesting. So I worked that into the video about video piety.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. So I gotta wait till the video comes out until to hear.
No, I mean I can tell you now. It's the video piety video is a, actually the video in the video piety video is funny because I was actually started looking at academic research, actual sociology and psychology research from researchers because I was looking for like, is what happened to me just like am I a special case or is there like a actual cultural trend being observed in academic research? So I was looking for that, and by default, I hated academic research. I don't know if you had to interact with them at all when you were studying engineering, but when I was in university, I occasionally have to reference them if I have an essay assignment, and I didn't like them at all because it was like they're I don't know what it was, but it seems like these people are really trying to write English in a way that normal people don't understand. They're like, what is the most complicated way I can convey this idea? Let me use the most unnecessary big words possible and jam it all into a sentence. That seems to be the game they're playing. It's very obtuse and difficult to read. And I developed this muscle memory back then in university where whenever I had to start referencing academic research, um, I immediately try to look for a way out of it. Like, do I have to reference academic research? Is there like a different way I can complete this assignment without referencing it? So I have this knee-jerk reaction to not look at academic research. So when I started looking at academic research for this video, um, I had that knee-jerk reaction. So I should stop looking at this. But this time I'm actually interested. So I was like, oh, hold on, I care about this video so much that these research are becoming interesting to me. That's interesting for me to see.
Mm.
Um, and my friend walked in while I was reading these academic research, and he's like, "Oh wow, Lewis, you're a very serious YouTuber. Like these are academic research. Like, are you gonna?"
Shit. God. Please reconnect.
Okay, I lost you there.
Yeah. Your friend walked in and then he said, "Oh, these are real serious papers. You're a serious YouTuber." And what
He,
happened?
he thought I was a serious YouTuber because I was looking at academic research.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I texted my parents first because we were exchanging text. It's a happy birthday. I said, "Oh, thank you, mom and dad," and it's in Chinese, but explaining what we said in English. And my mom said, "Okay, give me some tips about working as a corporate consultant." She's like, "Oh, you should work hard, but at the same time, you shouldn't just work. You should also, keep an eye out for other career opportunities within the company so you can advance your career." And I saw that, I'm like, "Oh, I need to tell her that I quit my job because otherwise, I mean, this is a situation where I have an ethical requirement to you know, reveal the fact that I've quit my job."
Right.
Um, for those of you watching who didn't know, I was a corporate consultant for about two and a half years, and I hated that job. And but my parents love the fact that I'm a corporate consultant because that's the kind of job that makes Asian parents proud. And I recently quit that job, and now I have to tell my parents that I quit that job, and I have like the most typical, stereotypical East Asian parents. So you can kind of imagine the reaction that they will have. Um, so I texted my mom. I said in a family group chat, so my dad will see it too. So I said I quit my job. Uh, I already submitted my resignation. I think this is my last day, and I'm now making videos on YouTube. And I sent that text. I was in a restaurant with two of my friends who were
Uh,
buying me ramen for my birthday.
oh.
And so I sent a text in that restaurant. I put that phone down. And I sort of just watched the phone. And my friends saw me all quiet. He's like, "Oh, Louis, are you under tremendous stress?" I guess they could tell. And I was like, "Yes, I just told my parents that I quit my job." I was watching my phone, and my phone started vibrating. So
Oh.
it's like rarely in my life does the vibration of my phone sound so scary. So I open up the family group chat, and I see a flurry of texts from my parents.
Uh,
Um, my mom said, "What is YouTube? Is that
oh
like an online
wow.
is that online classes or something like that?" They don't get YouTube in China.
Right. Oh
If
my
they
gosh,
can't
right.
access it.
Yeah.
Um, so I said, no, it's not online classes. It's just videos, kind of like TikTok or Chinese TikTok or Douyin. So it's
Mm.
like TikTok, but in China. But that's the Chinese version of a video platform like YouTube. So I said, oh, it's kind of like Chinese TikTok. And then my dad said, you should have a plan, and YouTube sounds too competitive to be a good plan. So I guess my dad actually knows about YouTube and he knows about how competitive it is. And he's saying that if I just do YouTube without a plan in a very competitive environment, it's not a good plan. Um, and my mom started sending me a bunch of other texts. Like, oh, why did you quit? What happened? Like double, triple texting me, and I'm trying to respond. And I'm not that good at Chinese, right? Like I have a Chinese skill of a 14-year-old. So the age I left China. So I was texting in Chinese, trying my best to, catch up with her speed. And she just straight up called me. She just got tired of waiting, waiting for me to respond. I was in the ramen store with my friends. So I said, Mom, I'm outside. I'll call you when I get back home. And I got back home. I called her and she asked me what happened. In a serious and concerned, but otherwise calm tonality.
Okay.
So I explained the whole thing, right? I explained how, I started making content about 2 years ago. How I've been planning to quit my job for at least a year. This is how much I've saved up and how I budgeted my expenses. How I've moved in with a friend to save rent. The whole plan.
Yeah.
This is how long I expect to last with my savings, and these are my plan Bs if YouTube doesn't become sustainable if I run out of money before YouTube becomes sustainable. These are the plan Bs, so on and so forth. And my mom listened, and he had some follow-up questions. I think it was about like she had some questions about some of the decisions I made. Like for example, she asked why didn't you just work on YouTube at the same time while you're working,
Mm.
as a corporate consultant? So I answered that question. And, obviously, I was doing that for some time. I was doing YouTube part time while working full time, and I said, I was too busy as a consultant. I didn't have time for YouTube, and it's just a job that's frankly not good for your soul anyway. So I was giving my reasoning for her follow-up questions. She had some questions about the some of the assumptions I made in my budgeting, and I answered those questions basically with just I was just walking her through my reasoning, how I arrived at my answers, like how you would show your work on a math homework. Very logical answers. And she listened, and at some point she said, "Oh well, I don't know that much about YouTube, but do you need any money?" I said no. She said, and she said, you shouldn't skip meals to try to save money. You should make sure you eat.
Mm.
I said okay, and then we started talking about nutrition. Like she telling me that I should eat a variety of vegetables.
Mm.
Um, And then she started saying, "Oh, do you know what happened to your aunt and your cousin?" I was like, "Oh no, what happened?" And she started gossiping about my aunt and my cousin, and I was listening to that, but it didn't even occur to me that the conversation about YouTube was over.
Oh.
We're not talking about that. We're moving on to something else now. It didn't
Oh.
occur to me at the time.
Okay.
Anyway, we had the call, and then we're done with the call, and my mom must have told my dad about it, afterwards. So my dad texted me the next day. Um, he said, Louis, you should get Chinese TikTok, so you
Uh.
can learn about content creation on Chinese TikTok.
Oh.
Also, what's your email address? Because I'm going to send you an app that lets you download music for free, so you can use those
Oh.
music in
Wow.
your
Wow.
YouTube
Wow.
videos.
Yeah.
And I start texting back. I was like, okay, Dad, I'm not sure I can access Chinese TikTok in North America. Also, music is copyrighted on YouTube. I don't think you can just use any music.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't really use music in my
Right.
YouTube videos.
Right. Right.
And my dad said, "Well, have you seen any good movies that don't have music? Music is very important. You should really use music in your videos." And I started texting back, trying to explain the kind of video I make and why music is not a priority to me at the time. And then it occurred to me that, oh my God, my dad is giving me content creation suggestions right now. He's not revisiting the conversation about my career transition, right? But like, what about the fact that I quit my job and start making YouTube videos? Like, are we not going to talk about that at all anymore? Like, are we done talking about that for good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, as far as I can tell, my dad really cared that I use music in my videos, and my mom cares more that I eat vegetables. The fact that I quit my job and am now a unemployed YouTuber, they seem to have completely accepted that. There was no further objections being raised in that group chat. And that was like so unexpectedly underwhelming, right? In the video essay I wrote, I said it's as if I was expecting an avalanche, but it turns out that it didn't even snow. So um, I was thinking back to the phone call I had with my mom. I was like, what did I do in that phone call that resolved this situation so smoothly? Like, what magic did I pull there? I was trying to think back about what happened, and nothing I did really stood out to me. Now, I just answered her questions. Um, I did remember her saying that, I don't know that much about YouTube, but you sound like you know what you're doing. Like you've been preparing for this for a year. You've been making YouTube videos for a lot longer than that. So I'm just gonna stop worrying about it. I'm gonna stop worrying about you now. You do you, kind of thing. And then she said, uh, "You sound like you've matured." I guess she was referring to the fact that I was planning this whole thing out and executed executed a somewhat big life decision all on my own. She's probably referring to that, or maybe the way I talked. Um, like she almost sounded proud in that uh, in that phone call, and that was pretty mind blowing to me, because you probably know this, Paul. Like you're not supposed to be able to make your Asian parents proud, right? Like the stereotype is you will get A on an exam, and A stands for average for Asian parents. Right? Asian parents are supposed to be in this permanent state of disappointment, regardless of your level of achievement. Uh, Never satisfied with their children. So the fact that I just talked to my parents and they're fine with me, like they totally understood what I was doing, totally accepted it, it seems, and might have even been proud of me. That was pretty bizarre. I was like, what happened? Like, am I an outlier here, or is this am I part of a trend? Is there data that supports what I'm experiencing? That's where I started doing the academic research. Um, and there were some complicated academic concepts that I was able to find, but to put it simply, there was in fact a trend that's observed in I think, sociology and psychology research from as early as 2001, as well as subsequent research decades later, that confirms that the way that Asian people show respect to their elders, uh, the cultural practices around that seems to be shifting from a sort of an authoritarian, rigid adherence to tradition. It's shifting from that into something that's more reciprocal and something of a mutual respect. So that's a trend that's been observed in academic research. Apparently, what I've experienced was just like part of that trend. What was mind blowing was I was under the impression this whole time that I needed to pull off some heroic effort, some heroic action to finally make my parents understand me. I better become a billionaire and cure cancer or something for them to be proud of me. But all I needed to do was to talk to them this entire time. Right? I didn't talk to them, so I was under the impression that they wanted something else. I didn't know that until I talked to them. So um, I was saying in my video that if you are suffering from you know high expectations from your parents and you never talk to your parents like me, you might want to talk to them because you never know. Um, it goes a bit deeper in the video. There was some more nuanced concepts, but that's kind of how I framed the video I was writing. So it's based on that story, how I expected it to happen and what actually happened and how unexpected the result was. Um, and the fact that it's supported seems to be supported by some of the research on filial piety and the trend that's been observed in data collected from East Asian societies. Um, but yeah, it turns out to be a very long video. I think it's almost 4,000 words when I recorded today. When I finished recording it, I was kind of tired just from uh, talking so much. Um,
How
but
long
yeah,
do you
that
expect
will
the video to be?
hopefully under 20 minutes. Let's see
Mm.
what happens after I edit it down. But yeah, maybe somewhere around that. Yeah.
It's funny because the video I just recorded about the how I got my girlfriend, that was like over 20 minutes. So, completely different type of um, videos that are similar length. Yours is scripted after like rewriting sentences again and again and again and perfecting
Mm.
it. And yeah, it sounds like you completely underestimated your parents' ability to understand and empathize with your situation, and they surprised you drastically. Like they just shocked you.
Yeah, it shocked me. In fact, it didn't even occur to me that it had happened when it happened. Like my mom just asked me some questions and then was totally fine, with my decision to quit my job. And it didn't even occur to me that she was fine with it.
Mm,
At the time, I was talking to her, we just started talking about something else. And in hindsight, I was like, oh, did she was fine with it?
mhm,
And I didn't even realize she was fine with it because it just happened so seamlessly.
mhm,
I was expecting something so much more violent than that, so much more chaotic than that. But
mhm.
my dad didn't even get on the call with us. He was working. He
Oh,
basically just said, "Oh, I'm at work. You guys talk," and then
oh,
he just heard from my mom and just decided that I don't need to worry about my son. I don't even need to call him. He's fine. I
mm.
just tell him to get Chinese TikTok. He's just start trying to convince me to get TikTok or Chinese TikTok now. So
Really?
yeah, that was pretty unexpected.
Yo, they sound way more supportive than you ever anticipated.
Yeah, that's I'm totally mind blown. Um, yeah, what's more bizarre is I still can't quite get around this, which is, you know, there are some possibilities, right? Either I wrote in my video either alien abducted them and swapped their brain, or they were like this all along. Like they were always this understanding and supportive. And I thought they were like like the stereotypical East Asian parents who are strict for this entire time, right? And I was, suffering from high parental expectations under false pretense, right? All I needed to do was to talk to them. I didn't talk to them until now. It's like that is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, should have talked to them sooner. Um, one thing I'll say though is um, I'm probably a bit better at talking now than when I was a kid. There are there are things that there are concepts that I can nuanced concepts I can communicate now better than I could before. Um, so it's possible that when I was a kid, I was just a bad communicator, and I was probably quite emotional in difficult conversations and was unable to calm down and present data in the way that I can now. Um, so maybe I just couldn't, I didn't have the communication skills to talk to them before. And I know that because my Chinese fluency has not really improved since I left China, but my English fluency has. So when I was talking to my mom, there were things that I was trying to tell her that I could say in English, but I didn't know how to say it in Chinese. So I would say, okay, hold on, mom, I want to tell you this thing. I have it written down in English. I don't know how to say it in Chinese. Let me just translate it and read the Chinese to you. So I would have a web page open with the translator while I was talking to her, and I would type the English of what I want to say into it and read the Chinese word back to her. Um, so there was that process as
Mm.
well during the phone call.
Mm.
So yeah, so communication skills are quite important in life, I found.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the Google Translate worked.
Oh, it works sometimes. So I can't I can't directly create a sentence in Chinese of the concept I want to convey, but I can assess the result of whether it's correct. So
Oh,
I could
okay.
write something in English and I would look at the Chinese and I can think, oh, is this correct or not? And if it's
Mm.
not what I want to say, I would just try something different with my English phrasing until I get
Oh,
the sentence I want.
dope.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Um, you were doing those corrections mid conversation with your mom?
Yeah, I would just tell her to, give me a second, mom, I need to translate this. And she'll just wait as I work it out, and then I'll read the result to her. She was patient.
Uh-huh.
She wasn't. It seems like she wasn't too concerned after I told her that I've been planning this for at least a year,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was a planned. It was an execution of a plan rather than something that happened suddenly. Like she
Right.
was worried at the beginning, it seems, because she thought I got laid off or something like that.
Right.
Like I didn't expect this and I lost my job, so she probably thought I need to help my son because he just lost his job.
Right.
But then she heard, oh, my son's been planning this all along, then it's fine,
Uh-huh.
he'll
Yeah.
figure it out. So he kind of calmed down after she heard that it was part of a plan.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like, yeah, you're not irresponsible in that you had no savings and you just quit your job and just, like was gonna be homeless soon or something like that, Like it's not like that,
I
so
yeah, I did have a friend who did that
oh shit.
like a year before I did, and he was actually what gave me the courage to quit my job ultimately.
Oh,
One of the things.
okay.
Like one day I was just, you know, being a burnt out corporate consultant on a Tuesday, I was burnt out and I was looking at Facebook and I saw this friend making a Facebook post. He's like, I quit my job today. And he was writing his experience. And I immediately texted him. I was like, bro, like, what happened? He's like, oh, I rage quit and I hated my team. They didn't give me a promotion. So I quit. And I was like, wow. Um, I always want to quit my job too, but I'm too scared to do it. So I kept following up with him. so and see how he's doing. And turns out he's totally fine. Right? It's just wasn't easy for him. Of course, he had his ups and downs since he quit his job. But he rose to the challenge, and it's been 2 years, almost 2 years now, I think, after he quit. I stayed in touch with him just to see how he's doing, and he's been doing fine this entire time. And I was like, oh wow, I guess it's not the end of the world if I quit my job.
How do you get
Uh,
income?
he went back to Korea, and he's looking for a job in Korea now.
Oh,
Yeah,
so he moved back in with his parents?
yeah,
I see.
yeah. And he's a musician on the side. So when he was in Canada, he was doing, I think it's called basking, when you're playing music on the side of the street.
Right.
He was doing that and sometimes making more per day than I do with a job. Like sometimes he makes $300 a day or something,
Oh
just from
wow.
pedestrians walking by and giving him money.
What does he play?
I don't know. He sings. Oh, he plays electric guitars.
Oh, okay.
I think also bass, but he also sings. I think
Mm,
he started singing after he quit his job. It's like a new thing for him.
mm,
Um, I don't know that much about music, but that's kind of how he got by in Canada, at least one of the ways, and now he's back in Korea, looking
yeah.
for a job there. Yeah.
Well. All right. Well, he had to move back in with his parents in Korea, but yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
I guess that would have been the case for you if you ran out of money. You would have gone back to China, right? To move in with your parents again.
Yeah. Although my mom was ready to send me money, I had to
Oh,
stop
okay.
her. Um, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna send you money, Louis, once the exchange rate is good.
Mm,
I said, no, mom, don't send me money. I've saved up and budgeted.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but YouTube is something that I can do in China or anywhere in the world. In China, I had to use a VPN though, so um, but it wouldn't impact my work on YouTube. In fact, it would help it given my niche. Like if I'm
Mm,
immersed in the culture I'm writing about, probably better. Um, yeah.
mm. Interesting. You don't get in trouble for making YouTube videos in China with a VPN?
Not if you're discreet about it, but on paper it's against the law.
Oh shit.
Uh, yeah, a lot of things. I don't know if a lot of things, but there are things that are against the law on paper in China, but enforced differently. VPN is one of those things. Like a lot of vloggers who vlog about China, we'll see some Western YouTubers go to China and be like, "Oh, I'm in Shanghai. Look at what I'm eating." There's no way that she's posting that from within China without breaking the law, right? I know
Oh.
we know that she's using a VPN, uh, but people are doing it all the time and not getting into trouble
Mm.
uh, because it's just not enforced. Um, can you still see my video, by the
Yeah,
way?
I don't know why it's a green screen. Oh, yeah, now I see you again. Yeah. Oh, now it's green again. Something wrong with your webcam?
Yeah, maybe. I think I need to.
Shit. It's
Yeah.
glitching like mad.
Let me check it.
Oh, what is Lewis's channel? Let me read the chat. Let me find Lewis. So, okay, the chat says. Let me get this first. I zone out easily, and you kept my attention, so that says something. Thank you, Olav. If you're still there. Yeah, I'm glad I kept your attention for 20 minutes. Well, nothing worse than your own cringe past. What's up, guys? Yeah, that's a good response from your parents, to be expected, I guess. China's more developed now and not some poverty nation anymore. Parents' attitudes are evolving somewhat, I suppose. What is Lewis's channel? I've been there before and subbed, but forgot the name. Louis Zhao is the channel name. The Louis Zhao.
Can you see
Oh,
me now, Paul?
I see you. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, although I wanted to say that there is probably one way that you can make videos in China without breaking the law. I don't want to just accuse all Chinese YouTubers of breaking the law publicly on the internet. It's possible that they're not breaking the law if they make the video in China and send that video to someone outside of China
Oh.
and upload from there.
Oh.
So I can go to China, for instance, and I'll make a video there. I'll have the footage and I won't be able to post it on YouTube myself because I can't access YouTube.
Right.
But I can send that video file to you,
Uh huh.
Paul, let's say via WeChat or something,
Yeah.
and then give you my password to my YouTube channel, and you can log into my channel and post it for me.
Right.
So some of the YouTubers are doing that.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, but it's probably a lot less complicated just to do it yourself with a VPN.
Mm.
Um, so I'm sure a lot of people are using VPN
Yeah.
just out of simplicity. Yeah,
Yeah. Is porn also banned in China?
yeah. There's no porn.
Yeah.
Quite hard to find it.
I think in
Um,
Korea they banned Pornhub and all the big porn sites.
oh, in Korea, that's really. So
Yeah,
if I go to Korea right now, I can't
can't go to Pornhub.
go on porn.
No.
Whoa.
You have to go to like I think you have to pay to like these paid porn sites, or there are some that are not blocked. I don't know. My friend, I think it was like X videos or something. Like he sent me. I was like, oh, is this not blocked in Korea? I guess it's not blocked. It depends on how famous the porn site is, I guess.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
didn't know that.
or maybe he was using VPN. I don't know. Maybe he was using VPN. I'm not sure.
Mm.
But
Because VPN sites are not banned in Korea, right? So anyone who is motivated enough to watch porn can just get a VPN and
yeah.
watch it. In China, VPN sites are banned, so
Oh,
it's not like you want to watch YouTube, you can just go sign up to a VPN in real time and watch it.
so how do
You,
you
you,
sign up to a VPN in China then?
you can't. You have to sign up to a VPN when you're outside of China and download the app once you're outside of China
Oh
and
shit.
make sure the app works because the moment you enter China and if you have no VPN, then you can't get to a VPN from within China.
Oh shit.
Uh, yeah,
So you have to leave the country in order to set up a VPN.
yeah, yeah. The mainstream China border. Yeah,
Oh my god. Damn, that's
yeah.
pretty intense. Wow. Um, well, thanks for telling me your parents' reaction. I was curious once you told me that you told them. I was like, "Oh shit." We were laughing about this over Sundubu when we were just like, my son used to be a successful corporate consultant at Deloitte, and now he's making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was expecting reactions like that, but I didn't get any of it, from my parents. So
Hmm.
that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I with my parents, I think they were like they're not they're supportive, but at the same time they don't believe it'll work for me.
They don't believe in the work? What does that mean?
They don't believe YouTube will work out for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have a channel now and you're posting content and people are watching, like, is that enough evidence for them to change their mind at this point, or are they still unconvinced?
Um, my dad's like, yeah, but you're making like $1 a day. so, so he's like, he doesn't believe in the scaling of the exponential growth.
Mm,
Um, my mom is like, uh, yeah, you're. Like, are you gonna rely on me for the rest of your life? Like, this was just like a day or so ago. Or was it today? I don't even remember. Yeah.
Oh, is it like a regular thing that she makes comments like that?
No, it's in passing while talking about different things. She'll bring it up, like occasionally, like um, just talking about someone that she knows, who's waiting to get on, like Canada pension plan.
Mm,
And it's like, oh, it's not just like someone else's story, right? Like
mm,
it's your, it could be very well your story too, or that kind of. Um,
mm,
so like, and also because I don't think my dad watches my videos, but my mom watches my videos,
mm,
and lately I've been expressing doubt in my videos about making it financially as a YouTuber,
mm,
showcasing examples of like this guy Keller who posted almost 3,000 videos over almost 8 years and is going nowhere.
mm,
At the same
mm,
time, it's like that guy. He's um, what is it? Like I have more success than him within 2 years. So
mm,
that's not my fate. But then you sent me that video of I tried YouTube for 4 years and I failed. That guy who made these Japan videos, and then he was like, I tried YouTube for 4 years and I have 8,000 subscribers and I'm earning like $100 a month. And,
mm,
and I was like, shit, I have 5 years before I turn 40. If I'm
mm.
earning $100 a month at 40 years old, oh my God. Um, yeah, it would be easier if I had a longer time horizon. Like, if I was your age, if I was 25. Wait, are you 25?
I just turned 26 a few
26
weeks
now.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, 26 now. Um, 26, yeah, like I could do YouTube for 7 years and I'd be 33, right? And I'm 30, turning 35 this year. So, um, yeah, trying to make something by the time I'm 40 is like the goal I set for myself. But some people like MKBHD, yeah, about 5 years for MKBHD before he went viral. Um, and then, and then you see, like a guy I showed in my latest video that I posted yesterday. Where he's like, YouTube is easy, man. You just post 15 to 20-minute videos of just a raw, unedited footage of you talking about your day and how you're struggling to make ends meet, and you post that every single day. And like, dude, those talking head videos, that's what gets me money, man. I just do AdSense and I earned $10,000 last month.
Wait, which guy are you talking to?
No, this guy's a YouTuber. His video popped up on my feed.
Oh,
Um, and I show that video in my latest video. I show that video of him saying that.
oh, I see, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I comment like, you know what he said? He said, just post every day these raw unedited footages about your days, 15 to 20-minute videos, and within 2 months you'll be monetized, and within 6 months you'll be earning more money than your full-time job. And I was
Where did
like,
this guy come from? Is that what he does too, or he just posts random videos of his days and he's now making more money than his
um,
job?
he was posting about his days living in the projects, and then now he's posting a lot of videos about making money on YouTube is easy. Like that. That's what he's
Uh,
posting these days, and I guess those get views because people are hopeful and they're like, "Oh, easy money." Gabby says, "I've been
mm,
tuning in the whole time, haha, just lurking. But have you read The Dip by Seth Godin?" It's funny because I just saw, or I saw a video talking about The Dip by Seth Godin. I haven't read it, but I understand the gist of it. There's a dip, and then if you survive the dip, then you can come out of it and succeed. Um, yeah, there is the dip, and I believe I will have the dip. I mean, I am. I don't even think I'm in a dip right now because I'm steadily growing. But like, um, I believe I will have a dip where I just explode after the dip. But it's funny to see people who post for like 7 to 10 years and they're deep into the dip and haven't come out of the dip.
Mm.
um, so the dip isn't for everyone. Some people who don't adapt, they just don't get out of the dip and explode.
Mm. Oh,
It's a
interesting,
very short
interesting
and
book.
easy read. I'll send you the PDF, Discord, me, or email. Actually, I had a lot more takeaways than just the dip. Part of it, like coping equals muddling through. Okay, okay, maybe it's worth checking out. I can download it for free on my Kindle, so I'll download it on my Kindle. But yeah, um, you Lewis, you're past the dip. The dip is like you first enthusiasm, and then you have the dip for a long time, and then boom, you explode, and you're at the beginning of your boom right now. You're just like, bam. You already
Let, let,
started.
let's see where it goes. I mean, it could be that it seems to be going up and then it just taper off into another plateau. It's all possible. Um, for me, the real validation comes when people would watch my work and have some of the most thoughtful comments that clearly shows that what I've done has touched them in some way. Like that's enough for me. Someone was commenting that something along the lines of the more I watch this channel, the more I realize the intergenerational trauma in the Asian societies has affected affected us in deep ways, something along those lines. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, first of all, this person's not only just been watching this video, he's been watching this channel,
Yeah, yeah,
which is crazy. And then
yeah.
he's saying, the more I watch this channel, the more I think about like the intergenerational trauma in Asian societies, and like that's a leap that I haven't made yet until I read that comment. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I am doing some of that. It's like if I can just keep going with what I'm doing, and you know, I don't think I'm meeting that what this commenter is outlining, but if I'm getting there closer and closer every day, that I think that's worth it for me.
Mm,
Um, yeah, the fact that people watch it and some people find it useful and comment to let me know that they find it useful. That's validating enough for me to just keep going.
mm,
Um, I didn't expect it to work right away anyways. I was already prepared for the long game.
mm.
Um, and I enjoyed it so immensely that I I'm not in a rush that it has to blow up right away.
Are
Yeah.
you working on YouTube every single day?
Yeah. Although I should be more disciplined with my work sessions. But I am working on it every day. I'm making some progress on it every day.
What's the
Um,
minimum amount of time you work it on it every day, and what's the maximum amount of time?
I'm not sure. At least 2 or 3 hours a day, I would say.
Okay,
At least 2 hours a day, maybe something like that. But
okay.
maximum, I'm not sure. I don't think I just would say, oh, I've worked on YouTube enough now, I'm going to stop. I don't think I've ever done that. I would just keep working until I have to stop to do something else. Like if
Mm,
I'm hungry, I'll stop to eat, right? If I need to go
mm-hmm,
to the gym, I'll stop to go to the gym. But if I'm not doing anything, I would just be working on YouTube.
mm-hmm,
Uh, I do get distracted. Like I'm not the most efficient uh, at extracting value out of my time. So I'll be distracted by a YouTube video, or this morning I was looking at trucks for some reason. I was like, Is it possible to get a truck that has two seats, two doors, but a very long bed that I can put my mattress in?" That just became a question that I really cared about for some reason. So I was Googling the different trucks, like there are like Ford trucks and Nissan trucks. Like, what is the best truck that fits that criteria? And I waste like an hour looking at trucks. So I do get distracted. Um, but I always want to work on YouTube, and it doesn't feel like I'm sitting down to work. It doesn't feel like that yet. I don't
Hmm.
know if it'll be like, I don't know if I'll be this passionate after a couple of years on YouTube, but so far, it's just so much fun to work on YouTube. Um,
Hmm.
I feel like I need to be careful not to get burnt out, because
Hmm.
sometimes I would realize, like, while I've been working on YouTube and when I'm not working on YouTube, I'm thinking about YouTube. And I've been doing that for like a week straight, and
Hmm.
like I'm getting a bit tired now. Maybe I should step away for a bit, because I don't want to get burnt out on YouTube. Because I care about YouTube, and I love YouTube, and I want to continue to love it. So I don't want to get burnt out by it. So I do need to like be careful there. But yeah, so far I work on YouTube whenever I can. Try not to get distracted by random things, and it's been incredibly fun so far.
Hmm. Wait, I'm a little confused. Did you say that you've had that moment where you were like, "Oh, I gotta step away from YouTube for a bit," or you're saying you fear that might happen?
Oh, I've had those moments
Oh,
when
okay.
I would realize that I've been working on YouTube, and when I'm not working on YouTube, I'm thinking about it. Like I would be working on YouTube until I have to sleep, and I will go to bed thinking about YouTube while my head is on the pillow. And I will wake up the next morning, and I would reach, the first thing I do is reach for my phone and check YouTube. Like that's all I think about and do for like a whole week or something. And I was getting a bit tired, and I thought I should be careful and not get burnt out this early in the game, because it'll be ironic if I get burnt out this early.
Uh, how's
Yeah.
your addiction to YouTube Studio and the analytics coming along?
Not good. I'm still addicted to it. Uh, yeah, my friend would point it out. Like I would hang out with them, and every other moment I pull out my phone and start looking at YouTube Studio and start refreshing it, like in front of them, right? And um, I don't use Instagram. I don't really check any social media. Um, I don't have notification turned on in most messaging app except the ones where I'm like I have a couple of my family members on, and very people who are very close to me. So I'm virtually now distracted by most things on my phone
Mm.
except YouTube Studio. I think that app is filling in the role of all of the distraction that usually exist on phones. Like I would check YouTube Studio as obsessively as an average person checks Instagram or something like that.
Do you have notifications on for YouTube Studio?
I think so, but I don't open it because of the notification. I click open it and check and refresh it just to see how my videos are doing. Yeah.
Damn, I mean, the fact that you can refresh and see a difference.
No, not always, but I will just keep refreshing even though I see no difference. Even though it's the same page. Like my friend would
Mm.
say, like, why are you checking it every other minute? It shows you the same thing you checked last time. And I know it shows the same thing, but I just can't stop myself.
Damn,
Um,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I check it pretty often too. Oh, Gabby said coping equals nothing. Mediocre work equals waste of time and energy. Hmm, that's a pretty interesting point. Yeah. I'm wondering if my work is mediocre. I think the guy who talked about posting every day about this stuff is kind of wrong and doesn't understand YouTube markets. We should chat about YouTube again sometimes. I'll say I get distracted and don't work on YouTube enough. Be right back. And throughout the group. Okay. Um, Yeah, checking YouTube Studio. Yeah, when I see the subscriber count go up, it's like, oh, it went up, and I hit 10 more subscribers. Oh, like it went up than the last time. Like it's like a little dopamine hit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's more addicting to me when I just post a new video and I want to see how that video is doing.
The
But
comments.
yeah, the comments and the view counts and the likes. After some time after that video has been posted and it's settled down with the views it will get, and s- I would be like much less obsessive about YouTube Studio, but I'm incredibly obsessive with it right after I post a new video. I'll just go on it every other minute almost,
Oh
just
shit, dude.
refreshing it.
That sounds so unhealthy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, at the same time, I think it's also because you only post once every week or two.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I should do it more frequently
Because there's
because
so much pressure.
yeah, because I believe in the idea of iteration, right? I like that word so much that it's on my YouTube banner. Um, so I like, you know, being able to iterate quickly, which means putting out different content and see the feedback from those content and using those feedback to improve. And now I'm sort of working on something for so long, release it, and then repeat that. The feedback loop is longer than I would have liked. So I want to like shorten that feedback loop somehow, but I mean you're doing it much better than me. You're posting way more frequently and seem to be totally unbothered by perfectionism. You just very good at executing and just post. Um, you might have been the best, one of the best at doing that out of our group, our YouTuber group. I think was it Kevin that was just talking about how he's struggling with posting just today, just a few hours ago.
Yeah.
Um, you should give him some advice because you're probably the best, one of the best at doing this.
It's funny
Just
because
hitting record.
he has like 40,000 subscribers.
Sorry, who? Kevin?
Kevin, yeah.
Oh, I thought he's doing a new channel now. That's just new.
Yeah, new channel, but like he has more YouTube experience as a successful YouTuber than I ever
Right.
have. Um,
Yeah, I see your point.
yeah, so like I think I mean you talk about how I'm iterating better than you, but our approaches are so different. You're going the video essay route, in which case you don't want to be churning out quick things um, for the sake of that. Uh, you do want to make the video essay pretty darn good. Not 100% because that'll take way too long, but 70-80% and be like, okay, this is definitely good enough. And maybe you're perfecting every single sentence a little too much to the point to the that it's delaying your next video by quite a bit. Maybe it delays it by several days even,
Mm.
by perfecting it that much. But by perfecting it that much, you also have some results in that I'm sure it has an impact on holding the viewer's attention and also the fact that they like what you're saying. So I don't think it's entirely wasted time. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a pointless effort to me. It does feel like I'm improving something meaningful. I think the problem for me is just that like I'm very inefficient with the way I use my time. I could have finished this task in an hour and it took me 4 hours, so to speak.
Mm.
Um, I think Andrew Huberman talks about this. He said that we humans focus in cycles, like an hour to an hour and a half of intense focus cycles. Um, think he called it Arcadian rhythms or something like that. I forgot the actual scientific term for it, but he's encouraging us to learn to have deep, intense focus of an hour to an hour and a half of short workouts, instead of like a diluted focus of an 8 hour session in which you kind of focus but kind of check your phone and not very intense. And I do find that I do my best work and I do the most amount of work when I'm deeply focused in a short period of time. It's really the most satisfying work as well.
Mm.
I'm just very bad at focusing. I'm bad at dropping into that deep state of focus. I'm so easily distracted. Uh, like this morning with the truck thing. I don't care. I don't care about trucks. I have no plans to. I have no plans to buy trucks
Uh-huh.
in the short term. I spend an hour looking at them for some reason.
I kind of
Um,
understand the rabbit hole thing you're going through. Like I have those phases too.
yeah.
Like I got obsessed with buying a mask because of Mr. Astropan's Batman mask.
Oh, okay.
So I spent like I think over an hour on Amazon trying to find some good masks.
Mm,
And I was like, why am I looking at this? It would be a detriment if I wore a mask in my
right.
YouTube channel. Like it would actually worsen my YouTube videos if I wore a mask.
Yeah.
Why am
Yeah.
I trying to buy and spend money on something that I'm not even gonna use or will help me? Yeah.
Mm, yeah. I think James Smith's helping me here is the circadian rhythms. Um, I think it might have been a different word. So circadian rhythm is a different thing. It's like the 24-hour cycle of like waking and sleeping kind of thing. I think circa means about a day. Uh, and then there's like another cycle that's more like instead of 24 hours long, it's about an hour to an hour and a half long. Apparently, we sleep in those cycles. Like we would drop into deep sleep
Yeah.
or REM sleep for an hour to an hour and a half and then come out of it a couple times throughout the night, maybe. I might be wrong there. I'm not a scientist. Um, and Huberman's point was that our focus works the same way. We would, have a couple of short 60 to 90 minutes of deep focus that um, aligns with these cycles. I just forgot what that term is. It sounds very similar to circadian rhythms,
Mm.
James, but I forgot the word. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I'm shocked Lewis only has 5K subs. Still think he should be well on his way to much higher soon. I totally believe that. You are just a few videos away from 10K and a few more videos away from 30 to 50K, I think.
Mm. Oh, thank you, James. Good to hear.
Yeah.
I think it's called ultradian cycle. Can you put that word in the chat, please, Paul? Sorry,
Ultradian? How do you spell that?
I texted to you.
Oh, let me check.
Sorry, we're just nerding out on science term because I wanted to find it.
Ultradian rhythm. There.
Ultradian rhythm is what it's called. Although I'm not sure how many people care about this. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Ultradian rhythm.
I did hear our sleep cycles are in hour and a half increments.
Mm.
It's funny though, when I'm editing a video, like I'll film for like less than 30 minutes and then I'll edit it for an hour or two. But sometimes even when the editing gets to like 2 hours, I will just keep editing until it's done. And there are some rare moments where I actually am like, okay, I gotta take a break. Like I can't continue like this, and I put down my glasses and I get up and I get a glass of water or something. But for a short video without too much editing, I can get it done within 2 to 3 hours with no breaks and just because there are some demanding attention spots and then some that are just really easy and
Uh,
yeah, it's different from your process of writing for that long, right? Because
Yeah.
that's a very different process from filming, editing, and posting in the same amount of time as just 100% writing.
Yeah. Yeah. So like there are tasks that require deeper focus and tasks that doesn't. Um, and writing is definitely one that requires deeper focus
For sure.
um, and what we talked about before about resistance really applies to my writing process in particular. So my brain would tell me all kinds of things to stop me from writing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a fun madhouse in my head when I sit down to write. Like every sentence, every letter, really that I put down on my Word document, my brain's like, "Oh, this is horrible." As I type, it's trying to stop me from typing it out. And I'll agree with it. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I guess that was a bad way to phrase it. Let me just go think about truck for a bit. 'Cause it's so stressful." Whereas, what's more productive is for me to just put down some of my thoughts and then revisit it later, to edit it to make it flow better. So it's like a battle with my own brain. Uh, when I do somehow push through it, I get into this flow state that is so beautiful, and I can write, and it's intense but peaceful at the same time. And I love those moments. But before I get into it, it's a madhouse in my brain, trying to tread through the mud of resistance. Uh, yeah, that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes every day interesting. That I
Mm.
get to play this battle against resistance. Um, yeah, it's definitely beats being a burnt out corporate consultant.
Do,
Um,
do,
yeah.
do you find that once you overcome resistance and you settle in, that those negative thoughts no longer like stop you like they do at the very beginning of your work session? Is there
Yeah,
a
yeah. So
hump that you overcome and then after that it's much better?
exactly. Yeah, for that session. Yeah. So at the beginning, it will be very bad. If I push through it, at some point, I hit a point where I'm no longer affected by the thoughts, or maybe the thoughts just don't come up anymore, and I'm in a flow state for that session.
Mm.
The next session, I do it all over again, um, or tomorrow I'll do it all over again. Um, yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Jordan Peterson and his writing process because he actually developed an app based on that writing process with his son. I don't know if you saw the app. Um, it's a writing app where it helps you rewrite the sentence multiple times in different ways. That's
Oh yes.
one of the features of
Yeah.
the app.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Have you ever used that app?
I think I downloaded it and tried the trial version or something like that. And I
Oh,
was like, I don't have use for this, so I don't think I'm ever gonna pay for this. Um,
right. Right.
but you're actually using that process, so it actually might be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I don't know if you
It,
want to accrue an expense.
right. Did you go to University of Toronto by any chance?
I went to Waterloo, an hour
Oh,
away.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought that Jordan Peterson would be teaching actually at the time you went there if you actually went to University of Toronto.
Right. So I actually have a friend who knew Jordan Peterson before he blew up.
Oh, okay.
And he I forget how, but he found I think he watched some of Peterson's lectures, and then because of that, he asked to see him as a psychologist for like therapy sessions, or
Oh, okay, okay.
so he had like several I think 3 or so sessions with Peterson,
Mm,
and um, he said he was good. He identified what was going on and was
mm,
good at bringing it into the forefront, the things that
mm,
are kind of murky. Um,
mhm,
and if there was something to kind of nitpick about what he wasn't good at, which
Mm.
was he wasn't the best listener in that once he thought he completely grasped what you were saying, he would stop listening at that point and delve into uh, what he thought about what you said.
That's crazy. That means he's probably the same in person as he is on video.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he do that in his videos, and it sometimes annoys me.
right.
Like in his podcast, he would just start talking and without the other person finishing his sentence,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is fine if I care more about what Jordan Peterson says than the other guests. But sometimes I care about what the guest says. Like sometimes
Right,
the guest will be someone I actually want to hear from.
right, yeah.
Uh, like um, like he did that a lot when he talked to Elon Musk.
Oh,
And
okay.
he just kept talking over Elon, and I was
Mm,
like, I want to hear what Elon says. Like you're
yeah,
just talking over him.
yeah.
He was about to say something so funny there, and then you cut him off. So
Do you
yeah,
still watch Peterson?
not as much anymore. But I do watch him once in a while if he's talking with someone that I'm also watching. Like I would watch him with Andrew Huberman or Sam Harris.
Uh,
Oh, there was a interview he did with Pierre Polyev
oh,
that was
okay.
quite good. You know Polyev, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
Canadian.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was a hilarious podcast. So yeah, if he has people on that I know, I would watch. Um, but I don't watch him as much anymore. Um,
Does he do any kind of lecture series, solo lecture series like his biblical series or something like that?
I haven't watched him recently, but I did hear him talking about something called the uh, Peterson Academy. Peterson Academy, I think what it's called.
Okay.
It's like an online course platform maybe, and I think he did a bunch of series on it, uh, as if he's a professor talking to a student kind of thing. So
Right.
there was him on it, and I think there was a whole bunch of other professors on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think there are some other lecture series like that on there. Although
Yeah.
I do think it's behind a paywall, so it's
Yeah.
not like we can
Daily
access it for
Wire.
free.
I believe it's on the Daily Wire and you have to pay monthly.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um, yeah, Peterson, I, s- I only watched his lectures. Like, I watched all his biblical lectures on YouTube, um, and some of his class lectures, um,
mm,
and I think that's and also there was this one like TV lecture he did. There were multiple a series, but one of them was called "On the Necessity of Virtue," and
mm,
that was the first video I watched by him because my friend who had Peterson as a psychologist, he sent me that video,
mm.
and I was like, when I watched that, I was like, holy shit, this is a timeless lecture you can watch. I watched it twice, like a few years apart, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this doesn't get old. Like this hits,
Whoa, okay.
it hits, it's hard. Um, as like I forgot completely everything. And it's just that is peak Peterson. Like that is to me peak Jordan Peterson, and
Mm,
everything that came after where he starts talking about politics or climate or transgender, all that kind of stuff, it turned me off because I didn't care about all the stuff he was talking about there. Like I don't care about his opinion on all those things. Just tell me more
mm.
about the necessity of virtue and the pursuit of excellence and getting your shit together. Like tell me more
Yeah,
of that. Like I don't care about your other opinions.
yeah, yeah. He really does like peak personal development content that is almost like a next level than the personal development content that are more common on the internet. So I would before I discovered Peterson, I was just watching the normal personal development content of people just basically doing bro science and be like, oh, you should work hard and blah blah. And then I started reading his book, and this guy's a psychologist, and he would like give you like scientific research and data, And so you should do this, and it will help you because this is what the data shows. So it's not just bro science, but it's supported by evidence. And that was the first time I saw someone do it that way. Of course, now there are more people doing it like that, but that was the first time I found someone that talk about personal development in that way, and that was pretty impactful for me when I saw that.
Did you enjoy his books? Did you read both of them?
I read the 12 Rules for Life. I enjoyed that book immensely.
Hmm.
Um, I I don't think I enjoyed the second book as much as the first one. Um, Maybe because it's less novel by the time it gets to the second book,
Hmm.
the 12 More Rules for Life. So I didn't finish the second book yet.
Hmm.
I'm sort of partway through and I stopped a while back.
Oh, you stopped
Um,
in the middle.
yeah, but 12 Rules for Life was epic as far as I remember. Like I
Oh
listened to the
wow.
audiobook and he was reading it himself.
Yeah.
And at some point he was crying while reading it. I don't know if you
Oh.
ever listened to the
I
audiobook, but
listened to the audiobook. I can't remember about the crying part. It's, I probably read it like pre-COVID
oh yeah.
or listened to
Uh,
it pre-COVID. Yeah.
right. I think it was a part where he was talking about his daughter, Michaela, who was sick. I think he has arthritis or something when she was like a teenager and she was very ill. And I think the rule was called pet a cat
I
when you
think
see one
that
or
rings a
something.
bell. Yeah,
Yeah.
that rings a bell. Yeah.
And he was crying while he was reading that chapter, like a part where his daughter was very ill, and I guess it was sad for him to recall that. And it's amazing that he actually kept that audio where he was crying while reading it, like choking up
Yeah.
while reading it. So it was something different, certainly, because most audiobook are pretty monotone almost, right? The
Yeah.
way they read it.
Professional. Yeah.
Yeah. So that stood out to me
Yeah.
that section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember now that you mention it. Yeah. I was taken aback. Um, when Peterson chokes up talking about um, whether it's his daughter or about all the mm, people in despair. I guess
Mm,
he was mostly mentioning men who are in despair,
mm,
because those are his audience that come up to him and how he's changed their lives and look at me, I'm now talking to my dad again. We're a good relationship again, and he shows his dad and um, like when he's talking about this stuff and tearing up or talking about the despair and all these guys need is a little bit of encouragement just to show that it's possible that they can turn their lives around. And when he's choking over that, like that gets me teared up as well. Like, um,
yeah,
yeah, I remember tearing up when hearing those things.
yeah. He cries quite a lot. As a public intellectual, I think he cries probably the most frequent crier online of all the public intellectuals. I can't think of another one that cries as often as he does. Uh, I think Andrew Huberman cried once
Oh, I didn't see
on
that.
yeah when he was talking to Lex Freeman. I think Andrew Huberman's dog just died,
Oh,
and
that,
Lex Freeman was trying to lead him into that conversation, and Huberman started crying. But most of the time it's just Jordanson crying online, and he cries for a variety of reasons.
yeah.
Uh, like at this point, like he cries so frequently that me and my friends just joke about it now. Just the fact that he cries so much. But yeah, I think he's incredibly authentic, and the fact that he just, uh, uh, the fact that people go up to him and talk about their lives, and he will listen, and he will listen so carefully that it's impacted him that deeply, right? To the point that he can't hold back his tear while while in front of a camera. Um, Makes me think that he cares a lot personally and very deeply. Like, say what you will about the man, but the fact that he cares, that part seems real to me. Um, yeah, so that's good to see for me because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of content creators are they don't care as much about their audience.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to create content to get the views or make the money. Um, but Peterson cares. You might disagree with his message, but the emotion of caring that part seems very real to me when I saw it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I actually haven't listened to him for years. I think pre-COVID is the last time I listened to him. Um, and then the only footage that I get sometimes that pops up is like Peterson can't get over losing this argument, and then I click on it, and it's just him being an absolute terrible debater in that he keeps interrupting and keeps forcing words into the other person's mouth. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's
Yeah.
it's completely showing like this horrible and I think he's become showing that side more since he's become big and famous. Like at the beginning when it was all about the lectures about getting your life together, I don't think that side showed much because he wasn't in that situation much. But when he's
Yeah,
yeah,
I think you stopped watching him right around when he became very ill. It's probably the reason why you stopped watching him is because he stopped posting content. Like he
right,
stopped posting content for a good year or 2 years or something like that because he was
mm-hmm.
pretty much dying. Uh,
Yeah,
it was crazy around that time. I was watching him and he stopped posting and I realized he was ill. And then I watched him immediately the moment he posted again after he became better enough to be on YouTube.
I saw that.
And
Yeah,
that was crazy to see. Apparently, he was so ill that when he came back of the hospital and tried to work again, he didn't know how to use his phone anymore or how to type
mm,
on a keyboard. He because he had been so ill, so he said he had to learn how to type from scratch because he's
mm.
forgotten it. And he said that every day he woke up, it was like a forgot what the symptom was, but maybe like a massive
Akathisia.
headache. Yeah, like a massive headache, or it was like very painful when he woke up, and he had to like go through this morning routine of walking for like many miles, like a long distance, just to get himself in a state that he can sit down and work. And
Yeah,
he'll repeat that every day so that he can keep working because he
mm-hmm.
said he doesn't know how to relax, so
Yeah,
he's not gonna retire. He's just gonna keep working. And I remember watching that. I was like, whoa, this man's like trying to get back up from a serious illness. Like that's hurts me to watch, but inspiring at the same time.
yeah.
Um,
Akathisia. It's like he, it was so it was it's a feeling that he can only describe as pain, but it's hard to articulate the feeling. That's it's
mm,
but the closest feeling is pain, and you just have to like I one of the side effects of this antipsychotics that I'm taking, one of the possible side effects is akathisia. That's why I looked into it. Um, and he had that. It was like painful to be still, and if you move, the pain is a bit better. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and it's
That's exactly what he said.
yeah,
Like he also said it was somewhat embarrassing because it's like from his perspective, subjectively, he said that it's not like he couldn't sit still. So if the nurse says, just sit still for a moment, he could do it. But at the same time, he said he couldn't at times. So he said it was hard to describe, but he said it was embarrassing. At the same time, it was painful.
mm-hmm.
Sounds rough. Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason I stopped watching him wasn't because he went sick. He came back, and then it was no longer the 12 rules kind of lectures. Like
Mm,
most of them were just topics that I weren't interested, and at that point I just stopped watching. I
mm,
watched him when he came back, but then yeah, he was no longer preaching like a like a like a sermon.
mm.
Yeah.
He became very political,
Yeah.
uh, and religious as well. Um, Political probably out of necessity. Like he came back at a time right after COVID. Um, he's probably like trying to catch up 2 years worth of political dialogue for which he was absent. So he was probably trying to just catch up there. But what's interesting is he became incredibly religious, much more religious than he was before.
Oh,
That was interesting.
oh, I didn't know that. Um, yeah, I think I listened to his lecture of who dares say he believes in God.
Mm,
I think yeah, it was interesting. He was like he didn't want to simply say the phrase "I believe in God" because he feels that phrase doesn't justify or signify everything that encompasses his beliefs.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
James says, "Have you seen DeepSeek R1? It's a model with Amazon Reasoning SN chain of thought that dropped a few days ago. It might help you get more time efficient with research and scripting." Oh, interesting. Amazing reasoning, I meant. Olav says, "Are you Christian, Paul, or are you just interested in hearing the lectures?" I was born and raised Christian. I can no longer say I'm Christian because I don't believe all the fundamental Christian beliefs, but um, the biblical series are good lectures in that it's not just about the scripture, it's also about life. So that's why I was interested. Jordan Peterson is just building up his frequent crier miles.
Probably have a lot more miles than all of us, given how frequently he cries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So you are there? Do you listen to a lot of? It seems like you listen to Huberman podcasts, Lex Friedman podcasts, Peterson podcasts. You listen to a lot of podcasts, eh?
Sometimes, yeah, I switch between podcast and audiobook um, when I'm supposed to be listening to something, and podcasts are much more approachable than audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
Audiobooks depend on a book. It can be quite hard to listen to, just in terms of how complicated it is. It's like sometimes I just when I finish working for a while, I want to go for a walk and I want to listen to something while I walk,
Mm-hmm.
but I had already been working, so I don't want to listen to some complicated theory, and I just want to
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
So I would put up a podcast, which sometimes still talks about complicated subjects, but sometimes it's just lighthearted. Yeah,
Mm.
I was just listening to Joe Rogan with Lex Friedman. I think that podcast came out a few days ago,
Oh, okay.
and they were talking about whether or not you can ejaculate in space. That was the first thing they talked about, and I think Lex said liquid works differently in zero gravity, so he thinks it's impossible for you to ejaculate in space.
Huh.
Um,
But it's being squeezed out, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know how it works. So apparently you
Interesting.
need gravity in order to have sex, and then they were talking about whether you can have sex in zero gravity. And Lex said that there's a Wikipedia page for it, although officially no one has ever had sex in space officially, but unofficially, who knows? So they're talking about that at the beginning. So that's a lot more fun and easy to listen to
Mm-hmm.
than an audiobook. So sometimes I get lazy and I start listening to podcast instead of audiobook. Yeah.
It's funny you said that you liked 12 Rules for Life because except for a few paragraphs here and there, I found that Jordan Peterson's so much better at speaking than making his writing as interesting as his speaking because his speaking is way more digestible. You can it's it's sometimes a little hard to grasp at the whole thing that he's saying and how he's coming at it and he goes a long way around to say what he says but you can digest it pretty quick like pretty easily but his writings because he's trying to squeeze in as much as possible into a single sentence again and again it just I only had like I remember when I was listening to the audiobook, just lying in bed listening to it. I only replayed certain like 30-second or minute or 2 minute chunks where I was like, this is why I bought the book. I wanted to hear this. But then that was very sparse and in between, and
Mm,
most of the chapters were like, I don't really care about this. Like,
mm,
get to the point that I want to repeat to myself. Like,
mm.
I don't know how you found 12 Rules for Life. Like, do you remember? It's been a while. It's been many years, but
Yeah, I don't usually rewind when I listen to audiobook,
mm,
regardless of the book. Like if I miss a section, I just let it be missed. Um, Usually this is practical. Like I might be doing something while I'm listening. Like I might be washing the dishes.
right.
I have to dry my hand to rewind, and I didn't want to bother.
Mm-hmm.
Or I might be working out or something. So I don't really rewind whether or not it's Peterson talking or writing, but I certainly agree with you that he's much more interesting to listen to live when he talks. I think in general, that's the case, that people are more interesting when they talk than they are when they're reading something they wrote. Peterson actually talks about this, forgot when or in what context, but he said there's such thing as, I don't know the word he used, he was so eloquent, like the dead, the dead text that's on paper or something. Like he was trying to describe this phenomenon where if you write something down, it's no longer alive. So
Oh.
you have the advantage that you can edit that text. You can make it as eloquent as you want. You can try to write it as many times as you want and make it as good as you want. But the
Mm,
disadvantage is that it's no longer alive. It's scripted. So
mm,
there's something less alive, something dead to it, almost.
mm,
Um, which is why, like, if you want to choose between, someone who comes in and makes a speech by reading off of a script versus someone who comes in and just do a live off the cuff, the
mm-hmm.
latter is much more interesting and engaging, even though the former could be more eloquent and more dense in terms of information. Uh, the off the cuff version is just much more alive because you're interacting with the person live. You're seeing him as he struggles to get the word out. Um, Apparently, something dies as you write it down. So this relates to what we talked about at the beginning, where you were saying that
Mm,
wanted to write a script for your video, and then you decided to do it live. Um, and I was asking you why. I think this. I don't know if you were thinking something along these lines, but certainly if you do it live, uh, much more of you comes through than if you write it down and read it.
mm,
Um, Probably why you find it much more interesting to watch Peterson, punch, and I find that as well. Like watch him talk live as even though he's taking a long time to make his point, right? Like you said,
mm,
he would circle around and try for a minute and circle back and finally makes his point. Whereas if he writes it, maybe he can just do it in two sentences. But still, it's interesting and much more engaging to watch him struggle for a minute.
mm,
Uh, at the expense of efficiency, it's more engaging,
mm,
uh, even though the written word is more efficient.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's something he talked about actually. Yeah,
It,
and I
it
remember that part.
it's funny because it is so much more efficient, the written down edited sentences, um, it's so much more packed. So when he's just reading through it, sometimes it just goes over my head about what he's trying to convey with those sentences because it's
Yeah,
just so packed. Like
yeah,
it's like I would probably need to sit with it and kind of digest to like um I don't know. It's not as bad. His writing is not as bad as like Carl Jung or Nietzsche,
okay,
where like
yeah.
I bought Carl Jung's books. I've bought a book by Nietzsche, and I was like, this is not fun to read.
No, I can imagine. Yeah.
um, it's funny because I thought. another book that Peterson recommended of Carl Jung would be better, so I bought that book, but it was no better.
No, yeah,
Easier to read.
yeah.
And then my friend Daniel, who met Peterson, the one I told you about, he said, yeah, with Nietzsche and Jung, it's probably better if you just hear other people reference them and talk about their writings instead of reading their writings directly, because it's just so dry and um, it you probably can't get through it, and I couldn't get through it.
Yeah, you tried, so I admire the fact that you tried because I haven't even tried. I just hear people's experience reading through them, and I've just decided to just not try to begin with.
It's fun. It's
Uh,
funny that you at least heard of other people who tried.
yeah, and tell me how difficult it is to read. Um, yeah. Um, which makes me think about my content as well, because what I want to do is definitely writing at this point.
Mm,
Um, it's definitely the case though that um, there needs to be a balance between just reading something I wrote versus doing it live. Uh, Video essay is interesting when I think about it because I know that I'm writing the script for a video
mm,
and I'm not writing a book,
mm.
which is actually a slightly different intuition because
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to read this to a camera and I would think about how I read it and I would think about what I would do to the video as I read it. I do have some control over what the audience sees. I can position the camera angle. I can show different text on screen as I read. So sometimes I would choose to write in a way that's not really optimal uh, as a writer. Like if I submit this as an essay, my professor would d delete mark for it. But it only makes sense because I'm reading it to a camera in front of an audience. I don't know if you relate to that. I don't know if I can think of any examples for it on the spot. Um, but I'm writing it slightly different from how I would write something that's just written to be read when I write something for a video essay. Because it's seen this weird in between of true writing that's being put on paper and off the cuff delivery that's that's more in line with what you're doing. Um, yeah, so I'm just noticing that now. Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you read out your sentences out loud, like every once in a while, just to see how it sounds, how it rolls off your tongue? Do you do that during your writing process?
Sometimes I read it out loud, but I would almost always read it internally
Mm,
as I write. I would imagine how it sounds and how it looks like as it exits my mouth, so to speak.
mm,
Like I'm very conscious that that I'm creating a video, that I'm not writing an article.
mm-hmm,
Um, and every word I put down, I'm imagining how because the written word it's almost the majority of the work, but it's not really the video, right? Once I finish a script, I'm the only audience at the moment of this work. No one really sees it, and people experience it as a video. So I'm imagining what it looks like as a video as I write, if that makes sense. Um, which isn't always the case. Like sometimes I would imagine wrong. Like I would
mm,
imagine I would read it this way, and as I record, this is actually a problem that I haven't solved yet. I would imagine that I would read something out one way, and when I'm actually in front of the camera, I realize that there's no way that I can read it the way I imagine I wanted to read it. Like maybe the sentence is just so awkward that I can't read it the way that I thought I would read it, and and I would I would just judge myself as I record, and that puts me in a bad mood as I record, and that's a whole other rabbit hole that of problems I'm trying to solve. Um, but yeah, sometimes I imagine it incorrectly, and it causes some problem later. in the production process.
So, from what I understand, what you just said, the problems sometimes happen during the recording session when you're reading them out loud into the camera.
Yeah, that's when I discovered that the way that I wrote it. Uh, so when I wrote this sentence, I imagined it to be delivered in one way, and when I actually record, I realize it's impossible to record it the way that I imagine it will be recorded. Um, so my imagination was unrealistic, so to speak, um,
Yeah.
and that's a problem. Um, yeah.
I I don't know if this is related, but when I'm reading a scripted video and I'm going through it, I will rehearse once before I hit record. Go through the entire thing once, and then when I'm going through it the first time, the only time before I record, I notice I'm like, oh, the sentence is written this way, but when I say it out loud, I say it slightly differently,
Mm,
and it's unnatural to read out what I wrote and more natural to say a variation of that. And
mm,
then I have to fix it and write how I'm saying it out loud and
mm,
copy that down. And then I'll have to repeat that for future sentences that I stumble into. But saying that out loud, reading it out loud, especially as you're reading through the entire thing, it really helped correct all the kinks in my
mm,
reading process.
mm,
So that when I hit record and then I start reading through it, now all the kinks are worked out and uh, everything flows just as I planned it to. Yeah.
mm. I should probably be much more deliberate with that process. I think I'm sort of um, what's the word for it? Like skipping steps with that.
Mm,
So I would try to read it once before, and I would be like, I got this. I've worked on the script for 5 days. I'm okay with it. So I would jump sections as I try to read this through the first time, like as a preparation. And sometimes it's in those sections that I jumped over that has an awkward sentence that trips me up as I record.
mm,
Um, Also, I record on the teleprompter, and the text on the teleprompter looks a bit different from the text on the Word document.
mm,
It's the same words and the same sentences, but the shapes is different. And
mm,
sometimes I look at a block of text shape that I've never seen before, even though I wrote the thing, right? But I wrote it, in a Word document, and it looks different on a Word document, and I wouldn't recognize what it was. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I have to read it twice and be like, oh, okay, it's that section that I wrote. Okay, I remember now. So that trips me out sometimes as well. So
mm.
all part of the learning process. But yeah, I need to get better at that. Um,
You should definitely, while you're scripting, you should read it out loud multiple times as you go through the whole scripting process. Out
mm,
loud, yeah. And like read out a section and then um when you finish write another section, read that out and also then read out the whole flow up till that point and see if the whole flow like it makes a difference. I noticed that when I'm writing and then I fix this part and then I fix the previous part and now when I'm reading it from the top to bottom, it it's like, oh, I like it changes when you change the next section than the previous section and then
mm,
yeah, like so reading it out loud,
mm,
even while you're scripting, I think that would hugely cut down the time wasting part of your recording.
mm, mm. Also, I wonder if I should just change my setup as well, because my recording is uh, requires a whole setup process. Like I need to put the light in place. I need to set up the camera, which points this way onto my desk.
Right, right, right.
And I'm standing next to my desk as I record. It's uncomfortable in the sense that I'm not sitting in my chair. I'm standing up. Um, I always want to do something like you, where like you're just sitting on your desk, and that's the point of view of your shot.
Yeah.
You don't need to do any setup. You just you're in the same position as you're practicing, as you're recording, as you're writing.
That's
So you,
true. That's true. Yeah.
um, and I have to like almost become an actor on a set, on an unfamiliar set, instead of
Yeah.
being in my own space in a way. So
Right.
that was tripping me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have a big space though, so I'm still kind of thinking about which hardware I get that can let me do it. Um, Sometimes I browse the internet to see if there's like a smaller camera I can buy and like a different mic I can get. Like I've sent you questions before about the mic you use. That was me thinking about like if I can just put it here and just not touch it anymore for the rest of my life and
Uh-huh.
reduce a step in my setup process. And if I can have a light just there and always light me up, and I'll just sit here and record and not do this whole thing of standing up and the whole setup thing and make things easier
Hmm.
and make things more comfortable. Um, one thing I do wonder is how much people really care about uh, my background and what I look like, I'm sure there's like a boundary at which people do start to care. Like if I look so bad on camera that it's distracting, I'm sure it's a problem. But most of the time, I don't know if it matters, right? And if it doesn't matter, I'd rather focus on the things that do matter, like my writing or things like
Hmm.
that. So I'm not sure where the boundary is. Like how bad can I look on camera? How lousy can I look until it starts to matter? I don't have access to my audience to actually get the answer to that, so I'm still just doing it by feel at the moment.
Um,
Yeah.
you could definitely do a YouTube poll, Lewis, especially with the size of your audience.
Like how bad can I look on camera before you guys stop watching me?
No, I would. You see this webcam version footage of you right now?
Yeah.
I would take a screenshot of that. I would post that as
Mm,
an image onto the com- um a community post and
mm,
say
mm,
like do a poll. I would do a poll and be like, how many of you would actually be turned off by this background and this framing? Um,
mm,
and you would get an honest answer from your audience. Like, I don't give a shit. Just give me the good scripts and the
mm.
B-roll, and that's all I care about. And I think honestly, I think that's gonna be the answer.
I hope so, yeah. Um, we talked about that YouTuber last time, the video essayist who's talking about China content, who's blowing up like that
Yeah.
uh, video got 1 million views and both of us couldn't figure out why. Just it's a good video, but the thumbnail and the title was not very clickable. Yet it has 1 million views. Like her backgrounds are very like what's the word? Non-professional, right? It's just like a random background with clothes hanging and doesn't look like she really cared. Um, and her video gets millions of views, so I wonder maybe like in the video essay space, it's probably not that big a deal how well the presenter looks on camera. It matters more what the content is about, perhaps.
I think, and even in the video that the channel that I sent you of, what was his name? Knight or Raven or whatever?
Johnny Moza.
No, not Johnny Mota. He always has nice backgrounds because he's outdoors. But like, what was the one that did I not send you? Oh, here. Rain. His name is Rain. Thoughts on social isolation. Like, he's just in a room recording from his shitty webcam.
Oh, was it the guy who's like social
Yeah, thoughts on social isolation.
uh
Like, his video quality is like, someone said he's
it,
like 144p.
it works for that video, that specific video topic. Yes, thoughts on social isolation, like with that shot, video quality, it looks like someone who would know something about social isolation when you see that.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
all his other videos, like they just click on it and they say, oh, based, and they just talk about what he talks about. They don't mention his
Uh,
background. They're like, oh, like you're speaking the truth and like all that kind of comment. Like,
mm,
um, I think
yeah.
I think
Hmm.
there are a percentage of people who are bothered by the background, and a bigger percentage of people who really don't care that much. And I think the people percentage of people who care are the type to like maybe watch those aesthetic vlogs by women living in New York
Mm,
City or something like that, and
right.
everything looks
Right.
pristine and pretty. And um,
Right.
I, yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I would say, given your difficulty of setup and the uncomfortable sensation of recording in that setup, standing, and also that kind of awkward positioning, and um, if you could have a like my setup where you just read from the screen and you just the webcam is right above your screen, um, something like that,
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
could just sit down and record in the same space that you wrote everything and you rehearsed
Yeah.
everything, like that would be a huge boost to your process.
Mm, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I have a question about that uh, ball at the back there, Paul. So next to your bed,
Yeah.
it's like a ball that lights up.
Yeah. That's
What
a
is that?
light alarm clock. It's wakes you up with light um, within a 15 to I think a 20-minute span.
Wow. How
Yeah.
does it do it? It's just a ball that lights up. Like, it doesn't look like it's very bright.
It's not a
How does it
ball.
wake you
It's
up?
it's a kind of an it's like this and like this. So if you look at it
Okay.
from the side, so this is the light shining this way,
Uh-huh.
and then the clock is like this, and it's also shitty radio, but um, it's a Philips light alarm, and first it's wakes up. You can use that as a light, like I am now, or
Uh-huh.
when you set it as an alarm, 20 minutes before your alarm goes off, it'll glow red and then dark red and then it'll get brighter yellow and it get super bright, and then
Oh.
at the mark where it hits your alarm, then it plays like bird noises or whatever.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
I
but
just thought it looked.
I always wake up before the alarm goes off because the light is so bright.
I see. I see. Yeah, I was just thinking that it looks very aesthetic, like
Mm,
as a YouTube background.
right.
I was thinking I could get something like that to put on the back, but I don't have a lot of space to work with.
Yeah.
Um, that big ass black trunk you see on the back, that's a mattress that I put against the wall
Yeah.
every morning, so I have a space to sit down and work.
Yeah.
And when I sleep, I move the chair to the side, to the corner, and I flip that mattress down and sleep on it.
Yeah.
Um, it's much more sketchy. My
I,
my background,
I
there aren't
mean,
many good views.
before I moved to this room, my background was worse. You just see my bed behind me, and
Mm,
um, yeah, it didn't look as good. But honestly,
hmm
and it's nice that I have a background that's better and it's just curtains and clean. But um, like I honestly don't care too much when I'm about background when I'm watching someone. My mom cares though. Like she says, "Oh, it
mm,
really matters," and she put that fake orchids there,
okay.
and uh, and so she's like, "You gotta make your background look nice," and so
Mm,
um, but people like her who care about aesthetics, those people will care about your background. But people like
mm.
me, when I watch someone, I could be watching your video essay of this with your bed and pillows on top of your mattress. I'm like, I wouldn't give two shits about that versus your setup where it's just you standing next to your desk.
Oh yeah, that's good to know. Mm.
So you should
I
do a poll. Do the poll.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Um, I do care about aesthetics, but I don't care about it. I care about it in context.
Mm.
Like if I click on a girl in New York City video, I want to see interesting shots and
Mm.
cinematics because that's what I'm there for. But if I'm watching Andrew Huberman talking about how to use light to set circadian rhythm, I honestly don't care if I see his face or not. Like as long
Mm.
as I hear what he says,
Yeah.
that's all matters. All that matters. So it depends on the context, and I hope that my audience is more leaning towards the information side. Um, I do find though that sometimes, like if the background is too ugly, like this rain person, um, it puts me off a little bit, unless it's on a video that says thoughts on social isolations. Then
Mm.
okay, that's a artistic choice that you make it ugly
Mm.
because you're talking about social isolation. But if you're talking about something else, I'd rather that the YouTuber makes some effort to make the presentation good enough that it's not distracting. Like if it's so wretched that I can barely tell you from the wall behind you, um, that puts me off for a bit. Like maybe I can get used to it, but still there's like a bit of an off feelings. And I wonder where that is, like for most people. Like at what point does it start bothering them? Um, yeah, so I think like you said, a poll would definitely help there.
Yeah.
Uh,
You'll find out
yeah.
when you do the poll.
Hmm.
I wonder if you can do an image poll and say
Yeah.
you can do your two shots, like this current shot with your mattress behind you and also the normal setup, and
Mm.
then choose like, would you phrase it like, would you stop watching my videos if this second image, this crappy background is the case?
Yeah. Looks like a dungeon where I'm at. It looks worse than it is. It's actually quite nice here. It's just the lighting is not as optimal
Right.
right now, but it's
Right.
a cozy place. Um, Actually, when I put down the mattress, I have a standing desk. I need to put the desk all the way up so that I can store some of my stuff underneath the desk.
Oh wow.
So I actually have space to put down the mattress.
Wow.
So by the time I put down the mattress, everything else in my room is like high above me,
Mm.
and circles around me that creates a kind of comfy, snuggly feeling. That's
Mm.
actually quite interesting. The
I
first few
see.
nights when I slept here, different from back when I used to have a bed.
Mm.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah. That's I can kind of imagine that feeling, being surrounded by that.
it's kind of if you lie down on that space between your bed and your window right there in front of that
Right, right, right.
table in front of your desk. It's probably how that feels.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Kind of snug feeling.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Neil says, "Hey, Paul and Lewis."
Oh, hey, Niels.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still here. He was here 5 minutes ago, but it is 5 or 6 a.m. over there right now. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Let's wake up early, Niels.
Niels wakes up at like 4:17 or 4:47, between 4 and 5.
Whoa.
Yeah, to work on YouTube before school, or
Wow.
even on the weekends he wakes up at that time.
Very disciplined.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Niels is visiting me in August.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Oh, didn't you meet? Did you guys meet in Europe
yeah,
at
in
some
in
point?
Germany, I stayed over at his place in Germany.
Nice, nice. Is
Yeah.
Niels staying over at your place in
Yeah,
August?
he'll be staying here for 3 weeks.
Wow. Where where would where would um where would he sleep?
Extra room with a bed.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Um,
He's got a big house.
yeah. What is it? We were gonna go to New York City for a week, but we were gonna stay with my uncle, but now we can't due to circumstances. So we Niels decided not to spend any money on hotels, even if we split it. So we're
Mm.
gonna we're gonna he's just gonna stay in Toronto, and we're gonna be 3 weeks together in Toronto here.
There's enough things to do in Toronto for 3 weeks, I imagine.
It's funny because I'm not the best Torontonian, knowing all the in and outs of the city. I'm
You,
like
you did well when I was there, although it was like 2 or 3 days. It was fun hanging out with you in
yeah,
Toronto.
but it was also because um like I knew that street of Koreatown, and like you like Sundubu, so that's why we went there. But I
Mm.
really don't know downtown that well at all, and even North York, I only go to the same few spots. So like
Mm.
I'm a real house mouse, and I don't know how well you know Vancouver. Do you know the city well?
Um, well, I'm a house mouse as well, but when I was in college, I worked as a property management assistant for a couple months, um, which required me to like go to different parts of the city to look after different properties that I manage for the company I worked for. So during that time, I actually got to know the city quite well, just out of necessity, needing to
Mm.
figure out how to get to different places. And as a result, found out some interesting part of the city.
Mm.
Um, but since then, I haven't really gotten out much. Um,
Were you driving around at that time?
no, no, I was either walking, if it's within walking distance, or I was taking public transit
Oh
at that
wow.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Niels is asking you, did Lewis quit his job and moved into a small room?
Oh yes, I indeed quit my job. I moved into a small room. I moved in with my buddy. If you watch a day in the life of a burnt out corporate consultant video, there's a homeless guy. There's a person who play a homeless guy in that sketch, and that's the friend that I moved in with. So we split a one bedroom apartment together, and take the bedroom, and he takes the living room. 'Cause he comes back a lot later, sometimes later than I go to bed. So uh, we arranged that I can take the bedroom and I can go to bed early, and he has the
Mm-hmm.
freedom to access the door and leave
Mm.
the apartment whenever he wants.
That's smart.
So
That's smart.
yeah, it's kind of the arrangement we have now, and we're both saving quite a bit of money. Oh, speaking of that, Paul, I don't know if you have heard. You live in a big house, so you're privileged. You don't probably don't care about the concerns of our common people who are struggling. But apparently the rent has gone down in Canada for the
Oh.
first time in a long time. In Vancouver, Toronto, a lot of major city. It's
Oh.
not gone down a lot. It's just like a tiny bit. But the fact that it has gone down, that's kind of a new phenomenon. Um, that's haven't happened for a long time.
Because it's been going up and up and up, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Apparently there were a lot of apartment buildings projects that started a couple years ago,
Yeah.
but they finish like years later, right? So
Mm-hmm.
right around now is when they are finishing and a lot of new units are going into the market, uh, which caused the price to go down a tiny bit.
Oh.
Yeah, that was interesting to see.
I mean, when I hear someone like when they're renting a place, I still always ask, how much are you paying for rent? I am curious. Um,
Yeah. Does the answer always scare you?
yeah, it does because like I hear that they have to work over half of the month that they work goes directly into rent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's common. Um, like I was actually exploring other options when I was planning to quit my job. I was thinking maybe I can get a car and sleep in the car. I was Googling how to sleep in a car legally in Canada and what kind of car to get. Um, There
You,
was a
you
guy in Toronto, I think it's Toronto, that created a nonprofit where he constructed this little wooden hut that's mobile and you can tow it around on a bicycle.
Oh
I was
wow.
thinking maybe I can apply for one of those, sleeping that, and um, I gave up because it wasn't really realistic. I couldn't figure out a solution to make it work because I need to get internet somehow.
Mm,
I need to get food every day, but I can't cook if I don't have a kitchen.
yeah, yeah.
It turns out it's just way too much headache and maybe more expensive than if I just move in with my friend. So I gave up
Mm,
that project. Um, but yeah, the rental prices are so high that you know it's making people look into sleeping in cars. Seriously considering it as a potential alternative. Yeah, so pretty expensive in these cities in
yeah.
Canada.
I mean, um, even if you do sleep in a car, you need a warm parking lot because it's so cold. Even in a basement parking lot, like at minus 10 degrees Celsius, like the basement parking lot is still cold. It's below. It's about zero or even colder. So like, um, yeah, just even sleeping in a basement parking lot, you'd still be like cold with a thick blanket. So like, where would you park overnight that is warm? That's I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah, yeah. Look, that was the problem. Also in Vancouver, it rains half the year. Apparently, when it rains, like it causes the growth of a whole bunch of criteria, like different germs started growing,
Oh shit.
and if you're sleeping in public spaces and you're not careful, you get sick easily, like because it's so wet, right? If
Mhm.
you're like parking your car out overnight and you're inside and it's raining the whole night.
Mhm.
Um, so I've heard stories of people getting sick sleeping in their cars
Oh shit.
uh, during the wet seasons in Vancouver.
Oh.
And I thought, how am I gonna like keep the car dry and keep my environment dry? I had like buy all these fancy gadgets, air purifiers, whatever. And by
Right.
that point, it's more expensive than actually renting.
Right.
Yeah, so I never went through with it. But people do sleep in their cars in Vancouver. It's not uncommon. There was someone who builds houses who couldn't afford a home. Talk about irony. So he built a little house on his truck, like a little wooden thing,
Mm.
so he can sleep in it. He was actually getting interviewed by the news. He's like, I build houses here in the city, but I can't afford one, so I built this thing on my truck and I sleep in it
Wow.
every day. Um,
Pickup truck, I imagine.
yeah, like a pickup truck, and on the
Yeah.
bed of the pickup truck, he built like a little wooden structure.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I would be down to live in one of those, but I don't have the skills to build one. Um,
Also, it would
yeah,
still be ridiculously cold in the winter.
yeah. I'd imagine he maybe has a heater or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, there was a guy on YouTube though who sleeps in his car every day. He has a Toyota Corolla that he sleeps in every night, and during the day he makes Uber E deliveries with his Toyota Corolla. The Toyota Corolla is like an old one, like 2003 Toyota Corolla. So to actually pick up passengers for Uber, your car must be built, I think, within the last 10 years or something like
Oh.
that. There's like a time
Whoa.
limit. So his
Wow.
car's too old for it. So, but he can still deliver for food. So he makes content about himself sleeping in cars and delivering food the next day. I'll see if I can find that channel and send it to you
Yeah.
later, Paul. But
Yeah. I would like to see.
he he was getting a lot of audience for it, and people are cheering him on
Mm.
because it was inspiring to see someone doing that, and he'll report his earnings at the end of the day.
Wow.
He's like, okay, I delivered for 12 hours today. This is how much I made. And he'll say how much he made delivering and how much the cost of the fuel maybe and how much he made online.
Mhm.
And the last few videos I saw that are more recent, he was making a lot more money online than he did delivering.
Wow.
So that was good to see. He said that he would sleep in his car until he saves up enough money to buy a micro house. I
Oh,
don't know what that meant, but some kind of small place to live in.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe he's done it already at this point. I don't know. Kind of want to see where he is at this point, but
Damn. Was he getting
yeah.
like over 10,000 views per video?
Only shorts though. He's only doing shorts.
Oh, he's only doing
Um,
shorts.
Maybe he has longs. I haven't seen any of his long videos though. Um,
Interesting.
I don't know how many views the shorts were getting, but
Mm.
he was reporting his earnings from videos, and it's more than the delivery he makes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but
Mm.
he is working like 12 hours a day delivering. Like I can't imagine like the dedication that takes. You sleep in your car, and that's uncomfortable and probably very shitty sleep as well, right?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
well can you sleep in a car? You're worried that someone might break into your car and kill you in the middle of the night. I would have that fear, right? I don't know if he's gotten over it or not.
Well, if he's in a 2003 Toyota Corolla, maybe maybe not so much.
And then he wakes up and then start delivering for 12 hours straight, and then films it, edit it, post it. He does that every day.
Damn.
Oh man, I rooting for him. I hope he makes it. But oh man, that's brutal.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that he works 12 hours a day and then posts a video every day. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, or at least he says he's been delivering for 12 hours a day, or 12 hours that day. It looks like he's not lying, so yeah.
Yeah, send me his channel if you find it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, holy shit, it's midnight right now.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Yeah, I better feed Mochi. She was begging earlier and then she gave up when I didn't respond to her.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, go feed him.
Yeah, okay. It's fun chatting with you, Lewis.
Here as well, Paul. It
Yeah,
was great fun talking to you.
yeah, till next time.
Yeah, see you later.
See ya.